Thank you.
Here now with reaction to all of tonight's top stories, Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. You know, Senator Cotton, we will get to the breaking news this evening, but I want to start with this explosive Wall Street Journal report, an issue that I feel you'll probably have some thoughts on, and that's Afghanistan. I want to pull this up, some of their reporting. This is about Adam Smith. Adam Smith is chairman of Armed Services Committee over in the House. And this happened. Adam Smith sought to talk to Biden directly to share his insights about Afghanistan, but couldn't get on the phone with him, Smith said. After the disastrous withdrawal, Smith made a critical comment to the Washington Post, triggering an angry phone call from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Shortly after, Smith got an apologetic call from Biden. It was the only phone call Biden made to Smith in his 4 years in office. And Smith said this, quote, "The Biden White House was more insulated than most. I spoke with Barack Obama on a number of occasions when he was president, and I wasn't even the chairman of a committee." Does it outrage you tonight that a Democrat that has knowledge of Afghanistan could not get a hold of the commander-in-chief ahead of that disastrous withdrawal?
Yeah, Kayleigh, it's consistent with what we had heard from the earliest days of the Biden administration, and frankly, what any American could see as well. The angry phone calls should have been going from Democrats like Adam Smith to Joe Biden and those around him for not listening to him and listening to us when we warned of the peril that our troops faced in Afghanistan. But again, there was a vow of silence among Democrats and liberals in the media for 4 years. You know, it was just in February of this year that Chuck Schumer was saying Joe Biden's mental acuity is great. It hasn't diminished at all over the years. So think about that. In February, 4 months before Joe Biden's calamitous debate performance, Chuck Schumer was lying to the American people, saying he hasn't lost a step in years. They didn't say it after the debate either, when it was clear to everyone. It was only after the election, when it could no longer affect their ability to cling to power, that you start to get some of the real story the American people could see from the beginning. And Kayleigh, I have to remind all of our viewers, Joe Biden is still president tonight. We've got another month of Joe Biden. He may be forgotten, but he's not gone. And that's tied into this debate we see over government funding right now. Donald Trump is the president-elect, but people are still going to him trying to get guidance, trying to put together a compromise bill to fund our government, not to Joe Biden, the actual president. Where's Joe Biden been all week long? Trying to get his party, which controls the Senate for another 2 weeks, to pass legislation to fund our government. You've seen this for 4 years. Joe Biden has been an absent president, and the American people have suffered for it.
Without a doubt. And, you know, you brought up the spending bill, so I want to pull this up from one of your Senate colleagues. This is Elizabeth Warren, notably a critic of the president at times. She's on the far left. He's conservative. She tweeted this: "I agree with President-elect Trump," I couldn't believe she said that Congress should terminate the debt limit and never again govern by hostage taking. What do you make there of that?
Well, I think, one, we should probably bookmark that, Kayleigh, because I'm not sure we're going to hear for another 4 years that Elizabeth Warren agrees with Donald Trump. Look, what happened tonight is very simple. The overwhelming majority of Republicans voted not just to fund the government at Christmas time, but to deliver badly needed aid to hurricane-ravaged communities in the Southeast and farmers who are struggling. The overwhelming majority of Democrats voted to shut down the government and deny that aid. Why? Because they want to obstruct President Trump's ability in the new year to deliver on our campaign promises that the American people want, like securing the border, rebuilding our military, reducing the price you pay for electricity and gas, and cutting your taxes. It's just that simple.
It is. And I want to end with one final question. Back to that Wall Street Journal cover-up and the reporting on the mental acuity of Joe Biden, which began very early on in his presidency. You sent this out that Tom Cotton, this was our Fox News headline, Tom Cotton demands DOD records on border wall material sales be preserved. So you want documents preserved as it pertains to these border wall sales. And I'm wondering, should documents be preserved in the White House as we learn more and more about the president's diminished capacity as it relates to Afghanistan decision-making?
Well, it probably wouldn't hurt, Kayleigh, because there's still a lot of questions to be answered. And I think you're going to start seeing more of those questions answered. That Wall Street Journal article had 50 anonymous sources. I mean, you had to line up outside the door and draw a number if you wanted to share your story about Joe Biden's diminished capacity. Once he's finally out of office, I think we'll see more of that. I am worried about what's happening as they leave office, things like the Department of Defense selling border wall materials for pennies on the dollar, again, to thwart President Trump from doing very basic things the American people want, like securing our border.
Senator Cotton, thank you. Well, joining us now is South Carolina Senator